that Chaz would end up in prison over his 5 felonies. There's tough guy Chaz, who thinks jail is a joke. Then there's the child, Chaz, who doesn't understand what jail really is.
Jail doesn't scare me in the slightest. Losing my freedom scares me. That's time I can't get back. Me personally, I feel like I'll be all right. Half the city locked up right now in the county jail. That's time I can't get back. Me personally, I feel like I'll be all right. Half the city locked up right now in the county jail. That's time I can't get back.
That slave master up over 500 years ago, she wouldn't have slapped him and protested. But getting back on point, you got the black woman who we raised their children, boys and girls, to just submit to straight oppression. And I'm not telling you to tell your children to go outside and get themselves killed, but why don't you tell them to read a book and educate themselves so that they can go directly around the trap instead of having to fight their way through it. But outside of that, black woman, you are willingly a sex servant. Straight willingly. Like, nobody has to rape you, nobody has to brutalize you anymore because you rape yourself. You get right on Facebook, right on Photoshop, Snapchat, straight 85% naked, nothing on, and then you get mad when a nigga treats you less than a queen. But look how you treat yourself, straight sex servant. You just telling me that since you mentally are a fool and you possess no knowledge, you never, and it might not be your fault, your parents was most likely Christian, so they didn't teach you nothing because the white man didn't teach them nothing. So now you don't know nothing. So the only way you can get accepted in life is physically because you have nothing mentally. For example, when a person can't deal with you on a mental level, they get physical. Take the police, for example. These Caucasians might pull you over and you might get smart. But that comes from slavery. The slave master expected a black person to be dumb. Actually, the more intelligent and knowledge a slave possessed, the less money they were worth, and nobody would buy them because they were smart and you couldn't control them like the dummies. So that, oh, you getting smart with me? That's from a white person to a black person. And we so quick to tell our kids that today whenever they show intelligence because, like I said, once again, people still carrying on the effects from slavery and you doing what the white man did to you, to your black child. But getting back on point, black women, like if you get pulled over, right? Let's say you get pulled over or wherever, you in some type of, any type of mental battle with a white person or a government official or somebody who just assumes that they're better than you. The first thing they're gonna do is tell you, "Oh, you getting smart with me?" But yes, I'm getting smart with you because words in just the whole verbal arena is a reflection of your mentality. What you say out your mouth reflects the thoughts in your mind. If I'm getting smart with you, it's because I possess at least a minimal amount of intelligence. So what do you want me to get dumb? You want me to say something stupid? Do you expect me to be dumb? So 9 times out of 10, when you get smart with somebody, let's say your parent, what do? They pop you, they slap you, they hit you. Why? Because you just defeated them on a mental level. So since they had no mental, they couldn't deal with you in a mental capacity, they went straight to the physical. When you say something smart to somebody or you hurt their feelings, the first thing they want to do is beat you, shoot you, stab you, or hurt you physically. Why? Because they lack this. They can't do that to you right here. So with the female black woman, you lack this. You don't have nothing mental to offer me. You have nothing to offer me but your body. So what you saying is to me that I'm getting is I'm empty-headed, I'm air-headed, whether I think I'm not. Only thing I can do to you is teach you this Christianity that I was raised in the church. I go to college, they indoctrinate me with the false teachings of Socrates and Plato and all this stolen legacy about the great Greeks. So I really have nothing to offer my household if I'm even going to college, if I even got a GED. And all I can offer you is my physical body. So the black woman has been downgraded, just like slavery, to not be allowed to know nothing. Now in 2015, she's downgrading herself. So you went from being the queen or the pharaoh of all of Egypt, all of Kemet, to being it went from being who got the most intelligence to who has the most physical beauty because you no longer have intelligence. So black woman, you have been degraded from dealing on a mental level, and just like the parent who hits the child who gets smart, or the police officer who shoots the driver who gets smart, you are now downgrading and degrading yourself because you cannot get smart because you don't know nothing. 9 times out of 10, females, it's not y'all problem. It's y'all surroundings. So I'm not even gonna blame y'all, just like I'm not gonna blame the men fully. But when you get of a certain age, it definitely becomes your fault because I'm pretty sure everybody watching this smokes, drinks, does something. They have some type of habit, whether you got a gym membership, whether you got anything you like to do for you, you can take that same money and buy a book. It's called Amazon.com. I got a bin full of books. It ain't about nothing. They only $7, $15, $20. They're not expensive. Like I said, a lot of y'all like to drink, smoke. It ain't nothing to buy a book or go on YouTube and let them read the damn book to you. But getting back on point, black people, we still suffer from slavery. And it's still going on. How can you be raped and hung and set on fire and ripped apart by horses, or babies cut out your stomach and the head stepped on in front of everybody, you raped in front of everybody, and you think that, oh, it's just over and you're not being affected psychologically? What's wrong with you? Is you crazy? But my point is, black people, we still suffer from psychological effects of slavery. You gotta get over it. Stop acting like you don't have a problem. You definitely have a problem. For you wouldn't put seeds in a garden and then don't water them and take care of them, would you? No, because that's retarded. So why would you put a seed in a female's womb and then don't water it and take care of it mentally as it grows? Because you're retarded. But it's not your fault. You was made that way. So now, build your will back up. Or female, you wouldn't want me to walk up to you and just snatch your shirt off and just look at your titties while you at the bus stop, while you on your way to work. Why? Because that's savage and that's disrespectful, right? So why would you be on Facebook showing me your titties then? Because you are savage and you're disrespectful to yourself. So clean it up, straight like that. Like I said, I don't spare feelings. If you don't like the way my delivery is, hold that down, player. But peace to the gods, peace to the earth, and man, come up out that illusion, black people. Come up out that realm, because we don't belong there. Peace.
Past semester, the African American Studies Center and the School of Education are co-sponsoring at 2 credit costs course on the miseducation of black boys. As most of you in the room know,
you look like a friend of mine. I accidentally shot at a party.
Demographic groups
What are the odds, huh?
who, just by the nature of the group into which they are born, are at significant risk for academic failure. There are more African American males in prison than there are in college, and the litany goes on and on. And so, in general, there is this incredibly
now
negative
you are prepared against
public
government
image
tyranny.
of what it means to teach in lower-income schools, to work with lower-income families, and specifically that those issues get stereotyped in the life of black boys. So it's rare in the educational establishment to find somebody who has such a clear vision of what is strong and powerful in the life of black boys and girls and other kids of color, and is willing to dedicate their life in this incredible combination of direct instruction and teaching, being in the classroom, running a school, influencing policy throughout the state of California, and also being willing to come out and share his perspective with the world. So I've had Dr. Holly come in and work with trainings with me in Wisconsin. And the one thing I would like to say, as many of you know, that as open as I am for discussion and dialogue, I'm hard to convince, particularly when I have a strong opinion. And he was able to lead me into understanding of the linguistic issues for African American families in a way that I found not only powerful in its intellectual quality, but convincing in terms of structuring my own approach to pedagogy. So without much further ado, I want to introduce Dr. Holly to you and turn the mic over, and hope you enjoy it. Be ready and be willing to ask a lot of stimulating questions at the end.
Good evening. Good evening. Come on, I'm from LA. Good evening. I want to thank Dean Coleman for the invitation. It's good to know people in high places, as they say. And I appreciate him bringing me out to Boston University. It's really my first time in Boston. I was here when I was a kid. Don't remember too much. So we're very open to the invitation, even though I was hoping for a little warmer weather, of course. But oh well. As he said, we're sort of at the crossroads of doing this work, and I kind of have three different vantage points that I think benefit overall, and I'm just going to cover them a little bit, and then I'm just going to jump right into what we do. The first vantage point is from the university perspective. I'm a professor at Cal State Dominguez Hills, which is essentially a teacher training university. Cal State Dominguez Hills credentials the most teachers of color in California, and I work there mainly in secondary education around reading, language, literacy issues. A lot of our students work in the LA sort of stereotypical urban schools, Los Angeles Unified, Compton, Long Beach. Many of our students go into that. I work the past couple of years with Teach for America cohort. So I have specifically Teach for America students, which is a whole nother story. Trying to convince them to stay longer than 2 years, which I think we're doing an okay job. That's one vantage point. So I have that sort of perspective of the university trying to deal with this. Then my second vantage point is as a co-director and founder of an independent charter school in Los Angeles called the Culture and Language Academy of Success. And that's a kindergarten through 8th grade school. We have 350 students, and we're known because we have all African-American students. We're 100% African-American, and the only all African-American school in the state, and certainly in the LA area. And we have great literacy results. 60% of our students score 80, 60% and above in AYP, the Annual Yearly Progress, which is the federal monitor. So we have people coming from all over the country to see what we're doing around the linguistic affirmation that we do. And then my third hat is what I'm doing with you today. Well, let me go back. Certainly being at the school site keeps me grounded, keeps it real, if you know what I mean. So, because we're dealing with students, we're dealing with parents, we're dealing with all the issues that are at a school site. And our goal was to create a school-wide model using the approach I'm going to introduce to you today. So that's very important work for me, because I don't get too distant from what the real issues are in terms of working with African-American children, particularly African-American males, where we have a reputation for having a lot of success. A lot of schools send us the students who they're having trouble with, per se, right? But when they come to our school, they don't have, I would say, as much trouble. We had a student, his name is Craig Jones, and he went to the UCLA sort of laboratory school. It's called Seeds Elementary. And he was in the office every single day. His parents are well-to-do. His mom's a
wouldn't
lawyer.
wear most of this myself.
His dad is a professional. And he was in the office every day. And his mom brought him to us and she said, I know my kid's not bad. He's a good kid. But for whatever reason, he stays in the office. I think in the 3 years that Craig was with us, he was only in the office twice. Well, with me at least, right? And now he goes to Loyola High School in LA, which is a pretty high-level parochial school there for us in the community there. So we've had some success using the approach I'm going to introduce with those students. The last hat is what I'm doing with you today, and that's traveling around the country teaching teachers about the approach and in the context, as Dean Coleman mentioned, of the failure. I'm not there for my good looks, you know what I'm saying? I'm there because, as you can see, I'm not a humble guy, right? I'm there because the school is in some type of program improvement status. They are under some type of mandate, some type of edict around their lack of success with namely African American students, but we can broaden that. And they've been told if you don't demonstrate or if you don't show that you're doing something to specifically address this, then we're going to come with some type of sanction or something like that. So many of the districts and many of the teachers that I work with, they're under that pressure. And it's sort of been a good thing in a way that it sort of opened the door for this conversation. Because I've been doing this about 11 years now, prior to No Child Left Behind, you really didn't have a lot of these school districts open to this type of conversation. So it's had an unintended effect, I think. And so we work primarily in Northern California, but we have situations in St. Louis, in New York, in different places. And what I mean by that means that we're working with the students and the teachers in the classroom, which is our overall goal. So that's sort of where I'm coming from. So what you see here is sort of a mixture of all of that. So just to kind of go along with the theme of the time, I changed my title to Your Culturally Responsive Stimulus Package. And I'm looking at it, we're in terms of how we can take some of the lessons that we're trying to learn from the economic situation and how can we apply it to the education situation. And the economic situation has been described as a crisis. And certainly those of us who've been in education, we can make a similar description as a crisis. But we see every crisis as an opportunity, as has been said. And so this is an opportunity for us to really bring a layer that we think can benefit any type of attempt to try to bring improvement and change. And that is culturally and linguistically responsive teaching. And I'm just going to define it for you real fast. Culturally and linguistically responsive teaching is the validation and affirmation of the home language and culture for the purposes of transitioning or bridging for academic success and success in mainstream culture. And so what you're going to do is you're going to go to where the students are so that you can bring them where they need to be. Or, as we call it, be situationally appropriate. And situationally appropriate is really learning what cultural and linguistic norm is appropriate for the situation that I can code switch to, but without losing who I am in that process. So I don't have to change what's internal to me, culturally and linguistically, in order to speak standard English or academic language, depending on my audience. I can still maintain that. And that's what we do. That's what we do at our school in terms of our entire teaching. And what we're simply saying is that the school system is really based on making that code switch, but at the expense of who you are. And secondly, not going to where the students are. The analogy that we use is simply trying to think about how you learn. If you think about how you learn how to swim. Now, how you learned how to swim, probably one of two ways. The first way is you were thrown into the pool, and the teacher was on the side saying, "That's it, kick, come on, do it, do it, do it," as you were flailing and it wasn't happening. And we know that in education to be what type of approach? It's called the sink or what? Swim approach, right? Then there's the second type where the teacher is actually in the pool with you, guiding you, holding you, instructing you, and then somehow slowly kind of lets go, and then you're doing it on your own. That's the approach that we're shooting for, the one where we meet the students in the pool and bring them along the way. So it has two components to it. The first component is culturally understanding where you are. And then the second component is
I buy all my clothes online with an app that fits them to a 3D model of my body type.
Instructional strategies, and that's why 90% of whom I talk to are practicing classroom teachers, because we're trying to get them to do their instruction in a different way, by first starting with their mindset and then ending with the practice. So what we're saying is we're not going to use guest speakers. We're not going to use posters. We're not going to use some type of ethnic cultural month. We're not going to use ethnic food day. We're not going to use ethnic dress day. That's not how we're going to get at this issue of diversity. That's not how we're going to get at this issue of culture. We're going to get at it by understanding more so where the students are culturally and linguistically and how we can accommodate or be responsive to them through the instructional practice, how we teach. And it's through that experience for the students that'll bring about the change that we want to see with them academically, behaviorally, and so on. So I want to begin just to change the energy in the room by doing an activity with you, and then coming back to talk a little bit about race and culture, then going to another activity, and then coming back to talk about the language piece. So that's how we're going to sort of tag team this. Hopefully each of you has a strip.
Why does someone always come in just when I'm about to take a break?
The packet that you have is sort of pieces of my full day packet, which is a 6-hour presentation. And I just didn't know it's hard to determine your audience, so I kind of put in a little bit of everything, and some of it we'll get to, some of it we won't, and I'll explain what each is as we go along. Then you have, which is really a promotional piece through Prentice Hall, as I'm one of the contributing authors for Prentice Hall. We'll fix this in a minute. And what we're going to be doing is, we work with Prentice Hall in how they can infuse some of these strategies into their texts. Then also have a DVD clip that I want to show towards the end, because a lot of people want to see, like, what does it actually look like in the classroom? So I'm going to show you a clip from our charter school that shows you what it looks like in the classroom. And one of the advantages that we have in something that's a highly theoretical area, culture responsive teaching, is we have the practice part. So it's not just theory. In fact, in our full sessions, it's very little theory. It's only the first part of the day. So you have these strips, and we're going to do an activity that's called a tea party. And now this is a culturally and linguistically responsive strategy that comes out of second language learning. And what the big issue is you understanding what makes it culturally responsive. And what makes it culturally responsive is that, first of all, is movement. There's movement involved. And movement in this case means you're going to be getting out of your seats, right? You're going to be standing up. Okay? The second piece that makes it culturally responsive is that it's sociocentric. And what that means is that it involves talking as part of the instruction. Because many times the students who are being unsuccessful, they are being who they are, but in the context of school, it's seen as negative, it's seen as disruptive, defiant, deviant, whatever is on the referral slip, basically, right? And a lot of these kids end up in the office for reasons that
Yo, so how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another GTA 5 video. So we are only 10 days away from the brand new Cayo Perico Heist DLC, and I know a ton of you guys are going to be wanting to stack up as much money as possible just so you can afford all of the brand new content, whether that be brand new clothes, cars, or apartments. Now, it's no secret in 2020 that some of the best ways to grind money in GTA 5 Online have to be done in a free roam public session. If you guys aren't aware, whether you have an MC business, a vehicle warehouse, a nightclub, a bunker, when you guys go to make the sale to these businesses, it has to be done in a free roam public session. Now, of course, the problem with doing that stuff in a free roam public session is that you will get a ton of players often coming over to you in pressers, jets, and just trying to destroy you and wipe away all of the hard work that you guys put in order to build up your business. So in this video, I'm going to be showing all of you guys an epic method that will allow you guys to avoid this from happening, so you can all get video, I am going to be breaking down 3 different methods for each individual platform. So hopefully you guys do appreciate me having it covered when a brand new DLC drops. As always, if you guys do support the channel and you do want to see more epic guides in the future, all I ask is do return the favour, drop a like down below. If you guys aren't branded, feel free to subscribe as I do post daily GTA 5 videos. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so the very first method I'm going to cover is the Xbox One method, as this is by far the easiest method. Rockstar Games, I don't think, can ever patch it, as we're not actually doing anything on the game. We're going to be using an Xbox console like everyone out of our session. So to do so, all you guys have to do is simply go ahead, log into a free run public session. Once you guys, and by the way, just to prove that this is working as of today, you guys can see the brand new podium vehicle in the background, which is this week's vehicle. So this is 100% proof that I am recording this as of today, the 5th of December. However, once you guys are in a free run public session,
what's the difference between a liberal and a leftist?
You're going to press the Xbox button, you want to go over to settings, you want to go down to network settings, and you want to simply go ahead and test your NAT type. And you guys should notice, as simple as that, once you guys test your NAT type, go back into GTA 5 Online, and you should see on the left corner, bang, 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 everyone getting lagged out of your session, as easy as that. So by far the easiest method out of all of these consoles is the Xbox One that all of you guys can do straight away. Now, if for some crazy reason Rockstar Games or Xbox end up patching this method in the coming weeks or months, I've also got another method that does work on Xbox One that I'll quickly go ahead and cover for you guys. Like I said, just in case the first method does get patched, then I'll go ahead and explain how to do the PS4 and PC method. The thing you guys want to do is be in a public free run session. You want to press start, go across to online playlist. You want to create a playlist and you want to add one race into the playlist. And you want to add the shortest race possible. The shortest race I always remember is called Criminal Records, the one where you just drive around the prison once. But if you guys can remember a shorter race, by all means go ahead and add that to your playlist. Now once you guys have added one race into your playlist, go ahead and save it. So as you guys can see here, I call mine Z So. Now once you guys have created your playlist, then you just go ahead and launch it. And all you guys want to do is go ahead and play the race once. You do want to put it on only one lap. You want to get this done as quick as possible. And if you guys can take note or remember for the reference of the video, just proving that this is legit. As you guys can see, this first attempt that I'm doing it in a blue ETR1. I'm going to repeat this glitch again on a different card just to prove that this is working every single time. However, it should take you no longer than 30 seconds to complete one lap and complete this part. I don't know how the hell that world record is 13 seconds. That's got to be a glitch of some sort. However, once you complete the race, you should get greeted this little cutscene of your character celebrating. Now, as soon as that's finished, you want to leave a like on the job and you want to restart it. Now, you should get greeted with a 30-second countdown. As you guys can see in the bottom right, as I mentioned right at the start of the video, I'm not going to cut a single thing from this video. I'm only going to speed it up. However, once this reaches about 2 seconds in, you should get greeted with another bit of RP that should roll down, and then you should get another cutscene. From here, you want to fill up the interaction menu, and you want to be hovering over your friend's name. Now, as soon as you guys can see in the background the image of a sky where it's zoomed out or the street lights, you want to invite your friend into that session. Now, as you guys can also see, before it restarts the actual playlist, it's going to glitch your character, as you guys can see, standing outside the race. And if you guys can think back to the old method around 6 months ago, from here, all you had to do was back out. You would be in an empty public session. However, Rockstar Games have patched that method. They haven't patched what I'm going to do right now. So as you guys can see, I've invited my friend already, and I'm in a race. However, he's still joining the session. And then bang, it should show up on my friend's screen saying to him, "Are you sure you are?" However, if I back out, as you guys will see in a second, it's going to put me in a public free run session with a bunch of random players. However, my friend is in the empty public session, so all he has to do is simply go ahead and invite me from here, and we'll both be in an empty public lobby. So as you guys can see from here, I tell my friend to go ahead and invite me. I actually have my notifications off. If any of you guys are ever messaging me on Xbox wondering why I don't reply, that's because I do turn my notifications off to show how